Welcome to Zoe Stories. My neighbor saw me naked. Now I'm her feminine project. I never thought one careless moment could change everything, but there she was, staring at me, and I felt my world tilt on its axis. 18-year-old John had always been quiet, almost invisible in the bustling apartment complex where he lived. His world was small: school, his part-time job at the cafe downstairs, and the solace of video games late at night. He had never imagined that a single moment of vulnerability would unravel everything he knew about himself. It was late on a Saturday evening. The summer air was warm, and John had opened his bedroom window to let in a breeze. He was changing into his pajamas, completely unaware that Madeline, his 24-year-old neighbor, had just returned from her yoga class. John froze as he saw her silhouette in the hallway outside his window. Before he could cover himself, a snap of her camera phone illuminated the room. She had seen him, naked, completely unguarded. His heart raced, a panicked flush burning across his cheeks. "Oh my God, she saw me. She can't please," he thought, but it was too late. Madeline's laugh was soft, melodic, but edged with something unsettling. "Well, this is unexpected," she said. Her eyes glinted with mischief, the kind that sends shivers down your spine. John wanted to disappear, to crawl under the bed and never come out. But Madeline didn't let him retreat. She stepped closer, her tone shifting from playful to commanding. "John, you're going to trust me on this, aren't you?" He stammered, confused and terrified. "I don't what trust you with what?" She tilted her head, smiling in that unsettling way, the kind of smile that made it impossible to say no. "You're going to help me, turn you into something beautiful, something delicate, something feminine." John's mind spun. Feminine? What does that even mean? "Why me?" Madeline sensed his fear and hesitation. "I saw you," she whispered, leaning closer. "And now you belong to me, John. You'll do as I say, or—" her eyes hardened, a subtle threat lingering. "Or everyone else might see you like this too." The reality sank in. She had power over him, and she knew it. A terrifying thrill of helplessness surged through him. By the end of the night, John found himself sitting in her living room, knees pulled to his chest, as Madeline laid out her plan. Step 1. Start dressing in feminine clothes at home. Step 2. Learn how to walk, speak, and act like a girl. Step 3. Public exposure, slowly, carefully, until the transformation was undeniable. John felt a strange mix of fear, shame, and something else he couldn't name. The humiliation was immediate. She handed him a soft blouse, a skirt, and sheer tights. His hands shook as he touched the fabrics, the scent of her perfume overwhelming his senses. "You'll thank me one day," Madeline said, brushing his hair gently behind his ear, a touch that sent a confusing warmth through his chest. "For now, you're mine to mold." As he looked in the mirror, fully dressed for the first time in a feminine outfit, John felt a strange detachment. The reflection staring back at him wasn't him, and yet, part of him wanted it to be. The first chapter closes with him staring into the mirror, heart pounding, as Madeline whispers, "From this moment on, there's no turning back." John is both terrified and inexplicably drawn to the idea of becoming her project, leaving the audience hanging. Will he resist, or will he comply? Every brushstroke, every ribbon, every step in those shoes felt like a confession I wasn't ready to make, yet I couldn't stop myself. The next morning, John woke to a quiet apartment, sunlight slanting across Madeline's polished wooden floors. His body still ached from the adrenaline of the previous night, but what unsettled him most was the soft, feminine outfit lying neatly folded on the couch, a pastel blouse, a pleated skirt, and a pair of sheer tights. Madeline appeared like a shadow in the doorway, smiling warmly. "Ready to begin?" she asked, her tone deceptively gentle. John swallowed hard.
His throat was dry.
I guess," he muttered, unsure what ready even meant. She guided him to the mirror-lined hallway, a perfect stage for the first step of his transformation. "Look at yourself, John. Really look. Not as the boy you think you are, but as what you could become." He hesitated, his fingers trembling as he picked up the blouse. The fabric was soft and cool, sliding over his skin like liquid. As he tugged it over his shoulders, a strange heat rose in his chest, a mixture of embarrassment and something he couldn't identify, an odd thrill. Madeline watched closely, her expression a mixture of approval and amusement.
Good.
Very good, she cooed. Now the skirt. The moment the pleated fabric brushed against his thighs, John felt a jolt of exposure, like his most private secret had been rewritten. I'm really doing this, he thought, his reflection already starting to look less like him and more like the girl Madeline wanted. Next came the tights. He struggled to pull them up, each movement making him acutely aware of every inch of his body being encased in silk. His fingers trembled. His face burned. Madeline's gaze felt hypnotic, controlling, silently commanding him to comply. Sit, she instructed softly, producing a small box of makeup. We'll start with your face. John's hands hovered over the brushes. He had never done anything like this, never imagined applying foundation, blush, or mascara on his own. Madeline guided him patiently, her hands occasionally brushing his in ways that made his heart flutter and his body betray him. You're a natural, she whispered, a hint of something darker in her tone. But remember, perfection isn't just about looking pretty. It's about feeling like you deserve it. By the time John looked in the mirror again, he barely recognized himself. The soft blush on his cheeks, the subtle shimmer on his eyelids, the careful contouring of his jawline. It was as if another person had taken over his body, yet part of him felt alive in a way he hadn't before. Madeline circled him slowly, appraising every detail. You're ready, she said finally. Ready to walk, ready to move, ready to be seen. John's stomach twisted. Walk. Public?
Seen?
Panic and anticipation collided inside him. He took a tentative step, then another. He stumbled slightly in the flats she had chosen, the sound of heels on the wooden floor echoing like a drumbeat in his chest. Good again, she encouraged, her hands guiding his hips, his shoulders, his posture. Each touch was dominating yet tender, mixing control with a strange warmth. His resistance wavered. He wanted to fight, but he also wanted to obey, even as shame gnawed at him. The first time she made him speak in a soft, feminine tone, John's voice cracked, and he hated the sound. Madeline laughed softly. There it is, your voice.
Pretty. Soft.
Perfectly mine. Hours passed. By evening, John could barely remember the boy he had been that morning. The reflection in the mirror was a girl with soft features, shy eyes, and trembling lips. And yet, it was still him. Madeline's final words as she left him alone in the mirror-filled room were chilling. Tomorrow, the real test begins outside these walls. John stares at his reflection, torn between fear, fascination, and a confusing desire to please her. Public exposure is coming, and he has no choice but to comply. But how far will he go? Every step outside was a battlefield. My body obeyed, my mind screamed, and every gaze felt like a verdict. The morning sunlight streamed through the window, painting Madeline's apartment in gold. John sat on the edge of the sofa, his legs crossed, feeling the sheer tights cling to his skin like a constant reminder of what he had become. His blouse and skirt were freshly pressed, hair perfectly styled, lips faintly glossed. He looked undeniably feminine and undeniably exposed. Madeline appeared, holding a small handbag and a list of errands she had prepared. Today, she said softly but firmly, you will go outside.
People will see you.
And you will learn what it means to be beautiful in public. John's stomach nodded. I can't. What if someone recognizes me? Her smile was both cruel and captivating. Then they'll see you as I want them to. And maybe you'll start to see yourself that way too. She led him to the door. The moment they stepped into the hallway, John's heart threatened to leap out of his chest. The sounds of the building, footsteps, a door closing, a child laughing, felt magnified, exposing him to the world in ways he had never imagined. Hold your head high, Madeline instructed, placing a hand on the small of his back. Chin up. Shoulders back. Walk like you belong here, like you're proud of who you are now. John obeyed mechanically. Each step on the sidewalk was a mixture of terror and thrill. The soft click of his flats against the concrete echoed his vulnerability. Passers-by glanced at him, some with casual curiosity, others with subtle admiration. His face burned. At the corner cafe, Madeline ordered coffee for herself and for him. John tried to speak in a soft, melodic tone as she had trained, but his voice wavered, high-pitched and trembling. A group of girls at a nearby table glanced at him and giggled. John froze, mortified. They know I'm not supposed to be like this, he thought. He felt exposed, humiliated. Yet a tiny part of him felt a strange rush at being noticed, at being admired, even in this small way. Madeline leaned down, whispering in his ear, "See? They're looking at you, beautiful, delicate, perfect. You like it, don't you?" He shook his head violently. No, I hate it." But the warmth rising in his chest betrayed him. The conflict between fear and desire twisted him inside out. Next, she guided him to a clothing boutique. Here, John's embarrassment intensified. Other shoppers stared, some whispering, some openly smiling at his delicate features and perfect posture. Madeline encouraged him to try on a dress, adjusting the fabric and guiding him in front of a mirror. As he twirled hesitantly, the reflection staring back at him was a girl in every sense: soft features, shapely silhouette, delicate hands. A stranger whispered, "Wow, you're gorgeous." John's knees wobbled. His face burned crimson. He wanted to shrink, hide, vanish. But Madeline's hand rested on his shoulder, grounding and controlling him. "Do you feel it?" she asked softly. "This is the new you. Accept it." By the time they left the boutique, John's mind was a storm. Humiliation, arousal, confusion, and a strange sense of power in being seen as pretty. The chapter closes with John standing at a busy crosswalk, all eyes on him as he waits to cross, Madeline beside him, whispering, "Tomorrow, we'll push further and the world will see just how perfect you can be." John's internal battle intensifies. He is now publicly exposed, struggling with identity, shame, and the thrill of admiration, leaving viewers desperate for the next chapter. Every step in that crowded mall felt like walking a tightrope over my own sanity. The world was watching, and I had no choice but to obey. John's legs trembled as he followed Madeline into the sprawling shopping mall. The noise, the lights, the constant movement, it was overwhelming. For the first time, he realized how exposed he truly was. The skirt swished around his thighs, the tights clinging, the flats tapping softly on the polished tiles. Each click felt like a drumbeat announcing him to the world. Madeline guided him to a mirror-lined store near the entrance. "Look at yourself," she instructed, voice firm but soft. "See the girl in the reflection. She's not afraid, she's beautiful." John's reflection was startling. The soft blush on his cheeks, the subtle shimmer of eyeshadow, the delicate curve of his lips. It wasn't just a costume anymore. He barely recognized the boy he had been just days ago. A strange mix of shame and pride twisted inside him.
"Good. Now smile," Madeline said.
John tried. The corners of his lips lifted, awkward and hesitant. A group of teenage girls passing by paused, whispered, and giggled. John froze, heat flooding his face. He wanted to sink into the floor, to vanish. But Madeline's hand rested lightly on his back, grounding him, controlling him.
"See?
They notice you," she whispered. "They admire you. You're learning already." The humiliation was sharp, cutting through him like ice. He hated that part of himself that enjoyed the attention, even a little. It made him feel complicit in his own exposure. Madeline then led him through the mall, stopping at multiple stores. A shoe boutique, where he tried on heels for the first time. He stumbled awkwardly, cheeks burning as a store clerk complimented. Such delicate feet. A cosmetics counter, where Madeline applied subtle lipstick and blush, whispering instructions about posture, gestures, and feminine mannerisms. Each correction was a mix of kindness and quiet domination, driving him further into submission and fascination. A perfume store, where she sprayed a light floral scent on him, murmuring, "Scent completes the illusion. You're becoming irresistible." John's mind raced with conflicting emotions, terror at being seen, shame at enjoying the attention, and a strange thrill in pleasing Madeline. Every step outside his apartment eroded the boy he had been, layer by layer. The climax of the mall test came at a cafe inside the mall. Madeline ordered drinks and placed John at a corner table where he was visible to passers-by. A young man glanced over, smiled at John, and whispered, "You're so pretty." John's face turned crimson. "Pretty?
Me?"
The word echoed in his mind, conflicting with every identity he had ever held. He wanted to deny it, to recoil, but part of him felt a warmth that was impossible to ignore. Madeline leaned in, her lips close to his ear. "Do you feel it, John? The power of being seen, the power of being beautiful? You're mine, but the world sees you too." John's hands trembled on the table. Tears prickled his eyes, shame, fear, and an inexplicable longing all swirling together. The mall had become a stage, and he was both performer and prisoner. By the time they left, John's mind was a whirlwind of identity crisis. Each glance in the mall windows reflected the girl he was becoming, a girl who existed only under Madeline's guidance. That night, John collapsed in front of the mirror at Madeline's apartment, fully aware that the line between boy and girl was blurring. Madeline watched silently, a small, satisfied smile on her face. "Tomorrow, we take the next step, and the world will see how much you've truly changed." I stared at my reflection, tears streaming down my cheeks, feeling like someone had taken my life and painted it in colors I didn't choose, yet couldn't resist. That evening, John returned to Madeline's apartment, his legs aching from the mall outing and his mind racing with shame, fear, and a strange, guilty thrill. He had been seen, noticed, complimented, and despite every instinct screaming at him, he had not resisted. Madeline was waiting, leaning casually against the doorway. Her smile was soft but edged with satisfaction. "Well, how was your first full day in the public eye?" John sank onto the couch, burying his face in his hands. I can't. I feel," his voice cracked, emotion choking him. He couldn't put it into words. Shame, fear, confusion, a strange desire to be seen as she wanted. It all collided inside him. Madeline knelt beside him, her hand brushing his hair back gently. "Sure, it's okay. You're allowed to feel this way. Everyone feels conflicted the first time. But you handled it beautifully." John's tears spilled freely now. "Beautiful?
Me?
I hate this. I hate what I'm becoming." Her voice softened, yet remained firm. "John, you're not losing yourself. You're discovering parts of you never knew existed. This is who you can be if you allow it." She guided him to the full-length mirror, standing behind him, hands on his shoulders. "Look at yourself. Really look." John's reflection was stunning. Soft features framed by carefully styled hair, delicate curves accentuated by the blouse and skirt, subtle makeup highlighting every line of his face. But it wasn't just his body, it was the way he carried himself, the slight tilt of his head, the timid smile, the hands folded delicately in front of him. He barely recognized the boy he had been. I don't know who I am anymore," he whispered, voice trembling. Madeline's hands squeezed his shoulders gently. "You're still John, but you're also her. The girl who can be admired, desired, and controlled in ways you never imagined. That's not losing yourself. That's evolving." John's chest tightened. Every word was a knife, every touch a thrill. He felt humiliated yet aroused, terrified yet compelled. His body responded despite his mind's protest. She guided him to sit on the plush sofa, taking out new lingerie she had picked. "Tonight, we complete the first private step of your transformation." John's stomach nodded. "Lingerie? I can't." Madeline smiled, gently tracing the curve of his jaw. "You can. You will. And you will feel everything." The moment he stepped into the delicate lace, John's face flushed crimson. Each piece of silk and lace clung to him like a revelation, highlighting curves he had never imagined owning. He felt vulnerable, exposed, and strange warmth blooming inside him. Madeline guided him to the mirror again. Now touch yourself like a girl. Walk like a girl. Speak like a girl. Feel what it's like to exist this way fully. John's hands trembled as he obeyed, a mix of shame, fear, curiosity, and secret pleasure coursing through him. Every glance at the reflection erased a little more of his old self, yet part of him craved the attention, the transformation, the control Madeline wielded. By the end of the night, John collapsed on the sofa, exhausted physically and emotionally, fully aware of how far he had already changed. Madeline kissed his forehead, whispering, "You're mine, John. And soon, the world will see her, and you won't be able to tell the difference." John drifts to sleep in lingerie and makeup, caught between desire and fear, obedience and rebellion, unsure if he wants to resist or surrender completely. The city felt bigger, louder, and merciless now. Every glance, every whisper, every step was a test I wasn't sure I could survive. Yet part of me wanted to. The next morning, John awoke still trembling from the previous night's events. His reflection in the mirror showed a girl he barely recognized, soft features, flawless makeup, and an uneasy grace in posture he was learning to hold. His body ached with anticipation, shame, and a strange longing he couldn't name. Madeline appeared in the doorway, holding a small bag. "Today we take it further," she said, her tone calm but commanding. "You'll wear this." She revealed a more daring outfit, a form-fitting dress, sheer stockings, and heels higher than anything he had worn before. John's stomach churned. I can't go out like this." Her eyes softened, then sharpened. "You can. You will. If you hesitate, everyone will see you as you were yesterday, vulnerable, incomplete. But if you trust me, you'll become unforgettable." He swallowed hard. Each word felt like both a threat and a promise. His trembling hands touched the fabric of the dress, the silky smoothness igniting a wave of shame and curiosity. The walk to the city center was excruciating. The click of heels on concrete, the stares from strangers, the wind brushing against his legs. Every sensation amplified his vulnerability. Passers-by turned, smiled, or whispered. John wanted to disappear, yet he couldn't stop walking. Madeline's hand on his back kept him steady, controlling, guiding, claiming him. At a busy coffee shop, Madeline instructed him to order their drinks. His voice, soft and melodic, cracked under pressure. A man at the counter glanced over, clearly admiring him, and whispered, "You're so pretty." John froze. Heat rushed to his cheeks. His mind screamed resistance, yet a small part of him felt pride, intoxicated by being called beautiful. The internal conflict shredded him from the inside out. Madeline leaned close, whispering in his ear, "You see? You like it. You crave the attention. You're learning who you really are." John's hands shook as he took the cup. Every movement, every glance felt like submission under public scrutiny. He stumbled slightly on the heels, and a group of young women passing by giggled. He burned with humiliation, but Madeline's approving smile grounded him, making him crave her dominance even more. Next, she guided him to a high-end boutique, insisting he try on another outfit, a slightly more revealing dress, soft lingerie beneath. A sales assistant complimented him repeatedly, and John felt shame, excitement, and arousal swirling into a confusing, overwhelming storm. "Look at yourself in the mirror," Madeline said. "Do you feel it? The girl everyone sees? That's her. You're just her canvas." John's reflection was breathtaking. The boy he had been was gone, replaced by a delicate, trembling girl with wide, uncertain eyes, soft lips, and curves accentuated by the dress. He hated it. He loved it. He feared it. He wanted it. By the time they left, John's mind was on fire. Every glance from strangers had chipped away at his old self. Every compliment, every laugh, every whispered word had reshaped his identity. He was caught between desire and shame, submission and rebellion, fear and curiosity. The chapter closes with John standing on a crowded street corner, Madeline's hand firm on his back, whispering, "Tomorrow, we'll see how far you're willing to go, and whether the world will accept her as much as I do." John is now fully immersed in his feminine persona in public, struggling with identity, desire, and humiliation, leaving viewers anxious to see how far the transformation will go. Every eye on me felt like 1,000 tiny knives, cutting, judging, exposing me, and yet I craved it, hated it, and couldn't look away. The following day, John awoke to a new level of anxiety. His reflection in the mirror showed a girl who was becoming more familiar than the boy he had been. He traced his fingers over the soft curves of his body, tinged with both shame and an undeniable thrill. Madeline appeared holding a small envelope. "Today," she said softly, "we go somewhere with more people, a semi-public event. You'll walk, speak, and behave as her, in front of an audience that doesn't know you." John's heart raced. I don't think I can." Her eyes softened, but her tone remained firm. "You can. And you will. Or you'll learn what happens when someone refuses their own potential." He followed her to a local art gallery, hosting a small exhibition. The space was crowded, soft classical music filling the air, and dozens of people milling between paintings and sculptures. John's legs shook as he stepped in, the dress clinging perfectly, the heels forcing him to focus on every step. Madeline guided him to a small, elegant chair near the center of the gallery. "Sit, observe, respond, and smile when appropriate." John obeyed, every nerve alight. Eyes swept over him, some curious, some approving. A few whispered compliments, and he felt shame and a strange pride coursing through him. Every glance was a test, every reaction a judgment, and he felt exposed like never before. Madeline leaned close, whispering in his ear, "Look at them. Feel it. They see her. They admire her. And you are hers to mold." John's chest tightened. He wanted to run, to hide, yet his body responded involuntarily, standing straighter, sitting more gracefully, curtsying slightly when people approached. The line between his boyhood and feminine persona blurred further. At one point, a young man approached, offering a polite smile. "Your dress is lovely. You have a great presence." John's face burned crimson. "Presence?
Me?"
His voice trembled when he thanked him softly. Part of him wanted to flee. Part of him thrilled in the acknowledgement, despite the shame. Madeline guided him gently through interactions, correcting posture, gestures, and tone, blending tender control with firm dominance. Each correction eroded his old identity, leaving the girl she was molding more visible, more real. The climax of the event came when Madeline asked John to step forward and describe a painting to the gathered crowd. Trembling, he approached, voice quivering as he spoke softly, elegantly, feminine in every gesture. The audience nodded, some smiling, some admiring. John's mind spun. He hated the exposure. He loved it. He feared losing himself completely, yet a part of him wanted to surrender fully. The adrenaline, shame, and subtle pleasure coursed through his veins. After the event, Madeline led him to a quiet room backstage. John sank to the floor, tears streaming. I can't. I'm not her." She knelt beside him, hands on his shoulders. "So you are learning. You feel, and that's enough. Tonight you rest. Tomorrow we push further." John lies on the soft carpet, exhausted, emotionally shattered, yet paradoxically yearning for more, fully aware that his old self is fading, and the audience is left wondering how far his transformation will go. Every stare, every whisper, every casual glance felt like a verdict. I was on display, stripped of control, and yet a part of me craved the attention. The morning sun filtered through the curtains, revealing John still dressed from the previous night's practice, the delicate lingerie hidden beneath his clothes, the soft blush lingering on his cheeks. His reflection in the mirror was unsettling. The girl he was becoming stared back at him, her eyes wide, uncertain, but increasingly familiar. Madeline entered with a sly smile, holding a shopping bag filled with daring outfits. Today, she said, her voice calm but commanding, we go where the world can see you, where judgment is inevitable. A crowded mall, busy streets, everywhere. No hiding. John's chest tightened. I can't, people will notice. Her eyes softened, but her tone left no room for refusal. Then they will, and you will learn to carry it, to wear it, to be her in every sense. The walk to the mall was unbearable. The click of heels on concrete, the sway of the skirt around his thighs, the weight of her gaze on his back. Every step shredded the boy he once was. Strangers passed, glanced, whispered. John's face burned with shame and humiliation. Inside the mall, Madeline guided him through a series of challenges designed to test both composure and submission. Ordering coffee at a crowded cafe, voice soft, melodic, trembling under the scrutiny of strangers. Walking past a group of teen girls who whispered and laughed, pointing out the delicate curve of his legs. Trying on a new dress at a boutique, the fabric clinging, accentuating his body, making every glance a test of endurance. John felt his mind fracturing. Humiliation and shame collided with a confusing thrill. Part of him wanted to run, hide, disappear, but another part craved approval, attention, and Madeline's dominance. A stranger's voice cut through the din. Wow, you're beautiful. John froze. The word echoed in his mind, a confusing mix of praise and shame. He wanted to deny it, to reject it, but part of him longed for it, needed it. Madeline leaned close, her lips brushing his ear. Do you feel it? The power, the vulnerability, the control?
This is who you are becoming, John.
Her.
Mine.
The world sees it too. He stumbled in the heels, the dress clinging uncomfortably, heart racing. Tears pricked his eyes as the weight of exposure pressed down on him, a battle between boyhood and the feminine identity he was being forced to embrace. At a food court, she instructed him to sit and eat delicately, like a girl. Every bite, every gesture, felt scrutinized. John's hands shook, every glance from strangers a tiny cut into his pride. But Madeline's approving nod, her gentle touch on his back, kept him obedient, addicted to her guidance. By the time they left the mall, John's mind was in chaos. Every step had stripped away layers of his old self. Every compliment, every whisper, every glance had cemented the girl he was becoming. The chapter closes with John standing outside the mall, the bustling street around him, completely aware that he was a different person in public, humiliated, transformed, and trapped in the thrilling control of Madeline. I collapsed in her arms, my mind screaming to resist, my body betraying me with every trembling breath. I was hers, in ways I hadn't imagined, and ways I could never reclaim. After the exhausting mall outing, John returned to Madeline's apartment, utterly spent. His legs ached from the heels, his mind buzzed from constant scrutiny, and his heart raced with a cocktail of fear, shame, and an impossible thrill. Madeline greeted him with a warm smile, holding a tray with tea and a small velvet box. Sit, she instructed. Tonight, we confront what you truly feel beneath the clothes, beneath the makeup, beneath the fear. John sank onto the sofa, staring blankly at the floor. I can't. I don't know who I am anymore, he whispered. Madeline knelt beside him, hands brushing his trembling ones. Sure, it's okay. You're not losing yourself. You're discovering parts of you you've never allowed to exist. And that's beautiful. Her voice, soft yet commanding, sent shivers down his spine. John felt an uncontrollable wave of emotion, the humiliation, the exposure, the public attention, all colliding with a strange craving to submit fully. Tonight, Madeline continued, you will surrender. Not as John, but as her. The girl you've been becoming. John's hands shook. I don't want to. Then look in the mirror, she said, standing behind him. Really look.
He did.
The reflection staring back was perfectly feminine. Soft features, flushed cheeks, delicate lips, eyes wide with fear and longing. The girl he had been practicing to be, under Madeline's guidance, her control, was fully visible now. Tears streamed down his face. I can't go back, he whispered. I'm her. Madeline's hands rested on his shoulders, grounding him.
Exactly.
You're not just John anymore. You're hers. Beautiful, delicate, obedient. And the world will see that too eventually. She opened the velvet box, revealing delicate lingerie and a silk robe. Wear this. Tonight, let yourself feel it fully. John's body betrayed him, shivering as he slid into the silk and lace. Every brush of fabric against his skin was intense, exposing, intimate, and utterly humiliating. His reflection multiplied in the mirror, showing the girl he was becoming, mirrored endlessly. Madeline guided him to sit, her hands on his hips, adjusting his posture.
Speak. Walk.
Move like her. Feel her in every inch of your body. John obeyed, voice soft, movements delicate. His mind screamed resistance, but his body responded with an almost painful eagerness. He was broken, reshaped, and addicted to the sensation of being controlled, seen, and molded. The emotional climax came when Madeline embraced him fully, whispering in his ear, "You're mine, completely. And the girl you see in the mirror, she's the one the world will know." John buried his face in her shoulder, crying, trembling, surrendering fully. Every resistance melted away. The boy who had walked into this transformation was gone, replaced by a girl shaped, guided, and owned by Madeline. The city streets were a stage, the crowd my audience, and every step I took was a performance I could not escape. John awoke to the morning sunlight filtering through the curtains. He was dressed in a delicate dress, stockings and heels, his makeup flawless. For the first time, he looked in the mirror and saw the girl he had become, soft, feminine, and undeniably captivating. Madeline entered holding a small clutch. "Today," she said, her voice calm but commanding, "you step into the world fully. No hesitation. No hiding. You are her now." John's stomach nodded. I can't, people will stare." Her eyes softened, but her tone left no room for refusal. "Then let them. You are beautiful. And you are mine. Today, everyone will see it." The first few steps outside were agonizing. Every sound, every glance from passers-by felt magnified. The click of heels on the pavement echoed like a drumbeat marking his transformation. Madeline guided him through a crowded street, holding his hand lightly, correcting posture and gestures. Shoulders back, chin up, eyes forward. Steps small, deliberate, graceful. Hands soft and delicate, not fidgeting. Strangers paused, whispered, and stared. Some smiled. One young man approached, saying softly, "You're beautiful, really beautiful." John's face flushed crimson. Shame, fear, and a forbidden thrill surged through him. Beautiful?
Me?
He wanted to deny it, to run, but Madeline's steady hand kept him grounded, forcing him to own the attention. Madeline led him to a chic cafe. John had to order their drinks, maintaining a soft, melodic voice. A group of girls glanced his way, whispering and giggling. Every compliment, every glance, eroded the last traces of his old self. "See," Madeline whispered. "They see her. They admire her. And so do you." John's hands trembled as he accepted their drinks. He hated that part of himself that enjoyed being admired, yet he could not deny it. Every word, every smile, deepened his submission and dependence on Madeline's control. Next, Madeline guided him to a luxury boutique, insisting he try on a more daring dress and lingerie. As he stepped behind the curtain, he felt vulnerable, exposed, and intoxicatingly feminine. When he emerged, the boutique clerk's eyes widened. "Absolutely stunning," she said. John's cheeks burned crimson. Madeline adjusted his posture, whispered instructions about gestures and expression, and sent him toward a mirror. The reflection was overwhelming. The girl he had become, flawless, delicate, and undeniably feminine. John's heart raced. Shame, thrill, fear, and arousal collided. He felt broken and reshaped, fully owned by Madeline. On their way back, a young man stopped, staring openly. "Excuse me, I just have to say, you're breathtaking. John froze. Heat flooded his body. His mind screamed resistance, but his body responded involuntarily. Madeline whispered, "Smile. Accept it. You are hers. You are beautiful. And this is your world now." Every compliment, every glance, solidified his feminine identity, leaving no space for the boy he had been. By the time they returned home, John's legs ached, his mind spun, and every fiber of his being was reshaped. The room buzzed with conversation, laughter, and clinking glasses. Every eye that landed on me felt like a judgment, a measurement of how much I had truly become her. Madeline woke John early, her eyes gleaming with quiet determination. "Tonight, we attend a party," she said, holding a sleek cocktail dress and matching heels. "Not just a mall or cafe, a real social event. You'll be seen, judged, and admired." John's stomach nodded. "A party? With people I know?"
I
can't." Madeline stepped closer, her hand firm on his shoulder. "You can. And you will. Trust me, or you'll regret it." Alone in her apartment, John changed into the form-fitting cocktail dress, stockings, and heels. His hair was styled, makeup flawless. He stood before the mirror, staring at the girl he had become, each detail precise, deliberate, and unrecognizable from the boy he had been. Tears pricked his eyes. I don't know who I am anymore." Madeline kissed his forehead, whispering, "You are her. And tonight, the world will see it." The party was lively, glamorous, intimidating. John's heels clicked on the marble floor. Guests turned to look, some admiring, some curious. Each step eroded the last remnants of his old identity. Madeline guided him to a circle of guests, instructing him to greet, smile, and move gracefully. John's voice, soft and melodic, trembled as he obeyed. Every glance, every compliment, tightened the cage around his former self, leaving only the girl she had molded. Suddenly, a familiar voice cut through the music. "John, is that you?" John froze. A former classmate stood there, eyes wide. Heat flooded his body. His mind screamed panic, shame, fear. Yet he couldn't run. Madeline whispered in his ear, calm and commanding, "Smile. Introduce yourself as her." With trembling hands, John approached, voice soft, expression delicate. "Hi,
I'm
Evelyn." The classmate blinked, taken aback, then smiled uncertainly. "Evelyn, you all look amazing." John's heart pounded. Shame, fear, and a tingling thrill mixed in an impossible storm. Every word, every glance cemented his feminine identity, leaving the boy he had been irretrievably behind. Madeline guided John through the party, correcting posture, gestures, and tone. He laughed softly, held drinks delicately, and answered questions with poise. Guests complimented him repeatedly. The attention was intoxicating, yet humiliating, a public proof of submission and transformation. By the end of the night, John's legs ached, his mind was exhausted, and his heart raced. He realized, fully, that he was no longer just John. He was the girl Madeline had created. The lights were brighter, the crowd larger, and every glance felt like a spotlight on my soul. I was exposed, yet unable to look away, and I didn't want to. Madeline woke John early, her eyes gleaming with purpose. "Today," she said, holding a daring dress and matching heels, "you will be fully seen. Not just admired, but tested." John's stomach tightened. "Tested?
I
don't know if I can." Madeline stepped close, her tone both soft and commanding. "You can.
You will."
And if you resist, the consequences are yours to bear." Alone in her apartment, John changed into the dress. It hugged his curves, revealing just enough to highlight his feminine form without being vulgar. Stockings and heels completed the look. He stared at his reflection, tears threatening to fall. I don't know who I am anymore," he whispered. Madeline leaned behind him, brushing his hair back. "You are her, John. The girl the world will see. And she is breathtaking." The venue was packed with people, music blaring, laughter and chatter filling every corner. John's heels clicked on the polished floor, every step drawing attention. Strangers turned, stared, whispered. Some smiled, others gawked. John's face flushed crimson. Shame and humiliation collided with a forbidden thrill, leaving him breathless. Madeline guided him to the center of the room. Move gracefully. Speak softly. Respond politely. Be hers completely. John obeyed, voice soft and melodic, gestures delicate and refined. Every compliment from strangers eroded his old identity further, leaving only the girl Madeline had shaped. A young man approached, eyes lingering on John with obvious admiration. You're stunning," he said, voice low. John froze, heart pounding. Heat flooded his body. Shame, arousal, fear, all tangled into an impossible storm. Madeline whispered in his ear, "Smile. Accept it. This is part of your transformation. Enjoy it, but remember who guides you." John nodded, trembling. Thank you," he said softly, his voice unsteady but melodic. The young man smiled, intrigued. "Can I talk to you later?" John's face burned. Part of him wanted to run. Part of him craved the attention, the thrill, the validation. Every glance and compliment cemented his feminine persona, further blurring the line between boyhood and girlhood. Every laugh, every glance, every subtle whisper felt like a thread unraveling me, pulling me away from John and stitching her in my place. The morning sun filtered through the curtains, casting a soft glow on John's reflection. The girl in the mirror was more familiar than the boy he had been, her eyes wide, cheeks flushed, and posture delicate yet deliberate. Madeline appeared, holding a sleek, elegant cocktail dress and matching stilettos. "Tonight," she said, her voice calm but absolute, "we attend a formal event. Not just a crowd, people who will judge, admire, and challenge her." John's stomach churned. I don't know if I can. What if someone recognizes me?" Madeline smiled faintly, dominance clear in every word. "Then you will introduce yourself as her. And you will succeed. Because she is beautiful and you will learn to live as her." In the privacy of Madeline's apartment, John slipped into the elegant cocktail dress, stockings, and heels. His hair was perfectly styled, makeup flawless. He stared at his reflection, trembling. I'm not me," he whispered. Madeline stepped behind him, adjusting his hair and smoothing the dress. "You are her. Every inch. And tonight, the world will see it. You will see it." John's knees shook. The silk of the dress against his skin, the tightness of the heels, the soft blush on his cheeks, everything reminded him how fully he had changed. The venue was lavish and crowded, filled with sophisticated guests in evening attire. John's heels clicked on the marble floor, every step drawing attention like a spotlight. Strangers whispered, some stared openly, others smiled politely. Madeline guided him through the crowd, correcting posture, gestures, and voice, ensuring he moved with elegance and grace. A group of women approached, smiling. "Wow, you're stunning. Absolutely stunning," one said. John's face burned crimson. Shame and humiliation collided with a thrill he couldn't suppress. He wanted to hide, yet he couldn't resist the attention, every compliment confirming the girl he had become. Madeline had designed a series of public tests to cement John's feminine identity. Maintaining composure while strangers complimented him openly, forcing him to blush and respond delicately. Dancing with a young man, carefully instructed on posture, eye contact, and hand placement, heightening his exposure and psychological tension. Holding conversations with groups of women who subtly flirted or commented on his beauty, leaving him humiliated and aroused simultaneously. Every moment was a psychological crucible, blurring the lines between shame, desire, and acceptance. John's old identity was eroding with each step, each compliment, each controlling whisper from Madeline. Halfway through the event, John felt a familiar presence. A former friend approached, eyes widening in disbelief. "John? Wait, is that?" John froze. Heart pounding, he felt the old fear and panic rise. Madeline's hand steadied him. "Smile. Introduce yourself, as her.
I'm
Evelyn, he whispered, voice trembling but melodic. The friend's eyes softened. Evelyn, you look incredible. John's chest tightened. Shame, pride, fear, and thrill surged in an uncontrollable storm, cementing his identity as the girl Madeline had created. Every compliment, every stare, every whisper made him hers completely. By the end of the night, John collapsed into a quiet corner. Tears streamed down his cheeks. I don't know who I am anymore, he whispered, voice shaking. Madeline knelt beside him, stroking his hair. You are her, and the world will see her. And so will you. You are beautiful, delicate, and fully mine. John trembled, emotionally shattered, yet secretly exhilarated, knowing that his old self had been replaced entirely. Every glance, every whisper, every step felt magnified, as if the world itself was watching my transformation unfold, and I could no longer tell where John ended and Evelyn began. Madeline awoke John early, her gaze sharp and commanding. Tonight, she said, holding a stunning evening gown and sparkling heels, you will be fully exposed, admired, judged, and tested. No hiding, no hesitation. Every person here will see her, and so will you. John's chest tightened. I don't know if I can. What if they see through me? Madeline's lips curved into a knowing smile. They will see her, John. And she is breathtaking. You will feel it fully. In the privacy of her apartment, John changed into the gown. It clung to his curves perfectly, the silky fabric smooth against his skin. He adjusted the stockings, stepped into the heels, and applied final touches to his makeup. He stared at his reflection. I'm not John anymore, am I? Madeline stepped behind him, brushing his hair gently. You are Evelyn. Every inch, every breath. And tonight, the world will see it. The venue was lavish, crowded, and buzzing with influential guests. John's heels clicked sharply on the marble floor, announcing his presence. Every eye turned toward him. Admiration, curiosity, and subtle judgment in every glance. Madeline guided him through the crowd, correcting posture, gestures, and expressions. John's voice was soft, melodic, and trembling. Every word he spoke, every movement he made, cemented his feminine persona, leaving the boy he had been completely behind. Madeline's carefully planned challenges pushed John to his limits. Walking past a group of women and men who openly admired him, whispering compliments that left him flushed and trembling. Interacting with a high-status male admirer, forced to respond with soft, melodic gestures and delicate smiles, testing his composure and submission. Dancing in front of the crowd, each step guided by Madeline, her hands on his waist, ensuring perfect posture, grace, and elegance. Each moment eroded his past identity, blending humiliation, thrill, and subtle arousal. John felt exposed, owned, and unable to resist Madeline's influence. Midway through the evening, someone from John's past recognized him. A former school friend gasped. John, is that you? John froze. Heat surged through his body. Panic and fear rose, but Madeline's hand steadied him. Introduce yourself as her, she whispered. I'm Evelyn, he said softly, voice trembling. The friend's eyes widened, then softened. Evelyn, you look incredible. John's chest tightened. Every compliment, every glance, cemented the girl Madeline had created, leaving no room for John to resurface. Shame, thrill, and exhilaration collided, blurring every line between his old and new identity. I stared into the mirror. The girl staring back at me was no longer a reflection of John. She was Evelyn. And for the first time, I felt complete. The morning sunlight spilled across Madeline's apartment. John awoke in the delicate silk robe from last night, hair tousled, makeup slightly smudged. He felt strangely calm, an unfamiliar sense of anticipation and dread mixed with acceptance. Madeline entered, carrying a stunning gown, heels, and a small clutch. Today, she said softly but firmly, you will face the final test. The world will see her completely, and you will know who you truly are. John's heart raced. I don't know if I can. Her eyes softened, but her dominance was unwavering. You can and you will, because she is beautiful, and you've been her all along. Alone in the apartment, John changed into the gown. It hugged his curves perfectly, the heels accentuating his posture. He stared at the mirror. Evelyn's eyes looked back, soft, vulnerable, yet confident. A rush of memories flooded him. The mall, the boutique, the parties, the public scrutiny. The whispers, the compliments, the teasing humiliation. Madeline's constant guidance, dominance, and control. Every moment had shaped him, broken him, and rebuilt him as Evelyn. His chest tightened. He whispered to himself, I'm her now. Madeline appeared behind him, brushing his hair back. Exactly. She is beautiful, delicate, perfect, and the world will see her. Madeline led John to a high-profile charity gala filled with influential guests, flashing cameras, and curious eyes. The crowd was sophisticated and judgmental, the perfect stage for Evelyn's debut. Every step he took in heels, every glance, every subtle movement was scrutinized, admired, and photographed. John felt a wave of shame, thrill, and exhilaration. A male admirer approached, eyes lingering. You're stunning. Truly beautiful. John's heart raced. For a moment, he felt panic, a fleeting desire to run. But Madeline's hand on his waist grounded him. Smile, she whispered. Accept it. This is Evelyn. This is you. He smiled softly, voice melodic. Thank you. The compliment, the attention, the recognition, all reinforced his feminine identity, leaving John fully aware that the boy he had been was gone. A familiar face appeared, an old friend who had known John before the transformation. John, is that you? John froze, chest tightening. He glanced at Madeline, then at the reflection in a nearby mirror. With a steadying breath, he whispered, I'm Evelyn. The friend's eyes softened. Evelyn, you look incredible. John's chest ached, a mix of nostalgia, shame, and a strange pride. Every compliment, every acknowledgement, every glance confirmed that Evelyn was no longer just a facade. She was real, tangible, and undeniable. Back at Madeline's apartment, John collapsed onto the sofa, tears streaming. I don't know if I can ever go back, he whispered. Madeline knelt beside him, stroking his hair gently. You don't have to. You are Evelyn. Beautiful, delicate, confident, and fully mine. The world has seen her, and so have you. She is real. She is you. John trembled, emotionally shattered, yet a strange exhilaration filled him. He had resisted, feared, and struggled, but finally, he embraced Evelyn fully, understanding that the girl in the mirror was more him than John had ever been. Every day felt like a performance, yet a part of me longed for it, feared it, and secretly craved the girl I had become. Morning sunlight spilled across the apartment. Evelyn, formerly John, sat on the edge of the bed, adjusting her stockings. Her reflection in the mirror felt familiar yet foreign, a constant reminder of how far she had come. Madeline entered with a confident smile, carrying a stylish yet modest outfit for a day out in the city. Today, she said, we cement your place in the world as Evelyn. You will be seen, admired, and tested, and every step will remind you who you are. Evelyn's chest tightened. I'm still nervous. People stare, and I can't hide. Madeline placed a firm hand on her shoulder. Good. You won't hide. You are hers. You are Evelyn. And every glance, every whisper, every compliment will remind you of your transformation. Alone, Evelyn dressed carefully. A cute day dress, stockings, and comfortable heels. Hair styled in soft waves, makeup light but flawless. She stared into the mirror. Every inch of me belongs to her. Every inch of me is hers now. Madeline appeared, inspecting the outfit. Posture. Walk. Speak softly. Grace in everything. You are her, Evelyn. Own it. Evelyn practiced small movements, gentle hand gestures, soft steps, delicate turns. Her mind churned with a mix of fear, pride, embarrassment, and undeniable thrill. Madeline led Evelyn through a busy shopping district, bustling with people. Heels clicked on the pavement, drawing attention. Every passerby looked, whispered, or smiled. Evelyn's face flushed crimson with every gaze. Some people complimented her softly. "You're so pretty. Such a delicate lady." Each comment sent a shiver of humiliation and thrill through her. Every glance, every word, cemented her identity as Evelyn, leaving John completely behind. Madeline set up several subtle social tests for Evelyn. 1. Ordering in a cafe, maintaining a soft, feminine voice under scrutiny. 2. Walking past a group of women who whispered and giggled at her appearance, testing her composure and grace. 3. Interacting with a young male admirer who smiled openly, forcing Evelyn to respond delicately and with poise. Every task was designed to blend humiliation, psychological tension, and subtle arousal, deepening Evelyn's addictive reliance on Madeline's guidance. Later, back at a quiet street corner, Evelyn paused to stare into a reflective store window. The girl staring back was perfectly feminine, soft, and delicate. I am her. I am Evelyn. Tears threatened, but she smiled softly. The reflection was no longer a source of shame, but a symbol of acceptance, surrender, and transformation. Madeline whispered behind her. "See? She is beautiful. She is hers. And now the world knows her, too." To close the day, Madeline suggested a fashionable dinner at a crowded restaurant. Evelyn moved gracefully among guests, heels clicking on the floor, receiving compliments with soft blushing, polite smiles, and delicate gestures. Every word, every glance, every subtle touch reinforced her new feminine identity. Evelyn realized that the boy she had been was gone, replaced by someone new, beautiful, and admired. Every eye in the room felt like a spotlight on me, every whisper a note in a symphony of judgment. I was exposed, vulnerable, and utterly hers. Madeline woke Evelyn early, her expression sharp yet calm. "Tonight," she said, holding a dazzling evening gown and stilettos, "you will be fully evaluated. The world will see her completely, and you will feel every gaze, every judgment." Evelyn's chest tightened. I'm nervous. What if someone recognizes me?" Madeline's lips curved into a subtle smile. "Then you will face them. You will be Evelyn. And tonight, you will see who you truly are." Alone in the apartment, Evelyn changed into the gown. It hugged her curves perfectly, the silky fabric soft against her skin. Heels accentuated her posture. Hair styled flawlessly, makeup perfect. She stared into the mirror. I am Evelyn. I am hers. I am beautiful. Madeline appeared behind her, adjusting the gown and brushing her hair back. Every movement, every glance, every word, own it. This is the ultimate test. You are hers. Evelyn's hands trembled as she practiced soft steps, delicate gestures, and a graceful smile, feeling both exposed and exhilarated. The venue was opulent and crowded, filled with influential guests, cameras flashing, and whispers all around. Every step Evelyn took in heels drew attention, every movement scrutinized. Madeline guided her through the crowd, correcting posture, gestures, and voice. Evelyn's soft, melodic tones and gentle smiles drew compliments and admiration. "You're stunning," one guest whispered. "Absolutely beautiful," another added. Heat and humiliation surged through her, but every compliment cemented her identity as Evelyn, leaving John completely behind. Midway through the evening, someone familiar gasped. "John? Wait, is that you?" Evelyn froze. Heart pounding, fear and shame rising. Madeline placed a steadying hand on her waist. "Introduce yourself as her."
I'm
"Evelyn," she whispered. The former acquaintance blinked, then smiled softly. "Evelyn, you look incredible." Evelyn's chest tightened. Shame, thrill, and exhilaration collided, blurring the line between past and present. Every compliment, every glance reinforced her feminine identity, making the boy she had been feel irretrievably gone. Madeline had orchestrated subtle public tests throughout the night, dancing in front of the crowd, guided by Madeline, ensuring perfect posture and elegance, responding to flirtatious comments from a male admirer, blushing, and responding delicately, walking past whispering groups who admired her openly, testing composure and grace. Each task intensified humiliation, submission, and psychological domination, leaving Evelyn exposed yet exhilarated, fully aware that she was completely molded by Madeline. Later, Evelyn paused at a reflective surface, staring deeply at her reflection. The girl looking back was soft, delicate, feminine, and undeniably Evelyn. I am her. I am Evelyn. I am hers. Tears blurred her vision, but a soft smile formed. The reflection was no longer a source of shame, but a symbol of acceptance, surrender, and identity transformation. Madeline's whisper behind her reinforced it. She is beautiful. She is yours fully. And now, the world knows her too. The lights, the music, the whispers, they all blended into a single moment of truth. I was no longer John. I was Evelyn, and the world was finally seeing her. Madeline woke Evelyn early, her eyes gleaming with purpose. Tonight, she said, holding a stunning evening gown adorned with sequins and matching stilettos, you will be celebrated. Every glance, every compliment, every subtle envy will cement your transformation. Evelyn's heart raced. I don't know if I can handle this. What if someone sees through me? Madeline's hand rested firmly on her shoulder. They will see her. Evelyn. Beautiful. Delicate. Completely hers. You will feel it, and you will embrace it. Alone in the apartment, Evelyn dressed in the dazzling gown. The sequins hugged her curves perfectly, sparkling with every movement. Heels accentuated her posture. Hair styled into soft, elegant waves, makeup flawless. She gazed at the reflection. I am Evelyn. I am beautiful. I am hers. Madeline appeared behind her, adjusting the gown and brushing back her hair. Every step, every smile, every glance own it. Tonight is the ultimate stage. You are hers completely. Evelyn practiced delicate gestures, soft steps, and graceful turns, feeling a mixture of fear, excitement, humiliation, and pride. The gala was lavish, crowded, and filled with influential figures. Cameras flashed, whispers filled the air. Evelyn's heels clicked on the marble floor, every step drawing attention and admiration. Madeline guided her through the crowd, correcting posture, gestures, and voice. Every compliment reinforced her feminine identity. You look radiant tonight. Absolutely stunning, Evelyn. Heat, shame, and thrill surged through her. Every gaze, every word, solidified her identity as Evelyn, leaving John completely behind. Midway through the gala, Evelyn was approached by a prominent socialite. You are the most elegant woman here, she said, eyes lingering appreciatively. Evelyn's cheeks flushed crimson. Part of her wanted to flee, but Madeline's hand on her waist reminded her. You are hers. You are Evelyn. She smiled softly, voice melodic, replying, Thank you, that's very kind of you. Recognition and praise continued throughout the evening. Strangers complimented her beauty, admired her elegance, and sought her attention. Every acknowledgement deepened her submission, humiliation, and thrilling sense of self. Madeline guided Evelyn through the evening, subtly reinforcing control, whispering corrections in her ear for posture and gestures, ensuring interactions with male admirers maintained humble, feminine deference, using compliments and teasing to blend humiliation with validation. Evelyn's mind was a storm. Fear, pride, embarrassment, arousal, and gratitude all mixed together. Every moment was a reminder that she had lost John and become Evelyn entirely, both publicly and privately. At a quiet balcony, Evelyn caught her reflection in a large window. The girl staring back was radiant, elegant, confident, and undeniably feminine. I am Evelyn. I am hers. I am beautiful, and I am complete. Madeline's voice came softly behind her. See? She is perfect. She is beautiful. She is hers fully. And the world knows her now. Tears formed in Evelyn's eyes, a mixture of relief, acceptance, and exhilaration. Back at the apartment, Evelyn collapsed into Madeline's arms, exhausted but exhilarated. Madeline whispered, "Tomorrow we solidify her world. Evelyn will not just be seen, she will be recognized everywhere. Every reflection, every glance, every interaction will remind her who she is. And you will feel it completely." Evelyn whispered, voice soft but certain, "I am Evelyn. I am hers." The chapter ends with a powerful sense of public acceptance, full feminine transformation, and anticipation for the ultimate resolution, leaving viewers eager for the next chapter. I stared into the mirror one last time. The girl staring back was not John. She was Evelyn, complete, beautiful, and undeniably hers. And for the first time, I felt whole. The morning sunlight spilled across Madeline's apartment. Evelyn sat quietly, adjusting her dress, hair perfectly styled. There was calm, acceptance, and a strange thrill in her chest. Madeline entered, her gaze soft but commanding. "Today," she said, "the world will see her. And you will finally know who you truly are." Evelyn took a deep breath. I am ready." Madeline guided Evelyn through the bustling city streets. Cameras, strangers, and admirers all turned their eyes toward her. Compliments, whispers, and glances followed every step. "You're stunning. So beautiful." Every word, every gaze, reinforced her identity as Evelyn. The boy she had been felt like a distant memory, fading with every step. An old friend approached, eyes widening in shock.
John?
"Is that you?" Evelyn froze, heart pounding. Madeline's hand steadied her. I'm Evelyn," she said softly, voice melodic. The friend smiled warmly. "Evelyn, you're incredible." Evelyn's chest tightened. Shame, pride, and exhilaration collided. The transformation was complete, irreversible, and publicly acknowledged. Later, back at the apartment, Evelyn collapsed onto the sofa, tears streaming. I can't go back. I'm her. I'm Evelyn." Madeline knelt beside her, brushing her hair.
Exactly.
"You are Evelyn. Beautiful, delicate, confident, and fully hers. The world has seen her, and so have you. She is real. She is you." Evelyn trembled, emotionally shattered, yet exhilarated. All fear, all resistance, all shame had been replaced with acceptance, submission, and pride in her feminine identity. Evelyn gazed into the mirror one last time. The reflection was not just a facade, but a symbol of transformation, surrender, and new identity. "I am Evelyn. I am hers. I am beautiful. I am complete." Madeline's voice echoed softly behind her. "The world will know her, and so will you." Evelyn stood, radiant and confident, fully embracing her feminine identity. The boy John was gone, replaced by a girl who had been molded, guided, and celebrated. The story ends with Evelyn stepping into the world fully as herself, leaving viewers with a mix of emotional closure, identity transformation, and dramatic satisfaction, perfect for a long-form YouTube finale.